31% in favour of Arboran. 25 of which being from controlling that one colonial province. Meanwhile, Lorent has punched their way through here, defeated the armies that I guess were defending the crossing, and have started to push into the Westmore region. Now, one thing I wanted to check was Vern. I want to go to here, country modifiers, and then it is S for shock damage done, plus 32%. Shock damage received, minus 30. What about Lorent? Shock 13. Shock resist, none. Arboran. Shock damage 0.1, shock resist nothing. So yeah, it is just the Vern shock modifier. That 30% extra shock is pretty powerful. But as we saw earlier, Vern doesn't rely on shock anymore. So if we take a look at their previous unit... Oh no, they do. There's still a 3. It's not a 4, it's just a 3. But they have that extra 6 powder. Like, they don't do that much fire damage. But hey, damage is damage. Meanwhile, the Kryenvar wave is hammered through Adenica. Marhold still low on manpower. Adenica, meanwhile, also tapped now. Fully. Kryenvar slowly but surely going through their professionalism, though they probably have another 4 pips still if they need it. And each of those pips would give them 125,000. Bloody hell. They still have another 600,000 manpower if they want it. Meanwhile, this fight seems to have descended into a bit of a standoff. It does look like the Soldier Sat have moved in, tried to retake that. Oh, I see they're drilling. Soldier Sat are drilling because they want to try and get their professionalism back, although that's still their primary advantage here. Like, Phoenix Court, Phoenix Empire, none. Nada. Zilch. 0. What is Esmara's development like? 973. Jabed 380. I mean, they're still a ways off the Great Power list, but 900 is pretty good. Especially for a nation that starts as, what, an OPM? Meanwhile, looks like they just beat an Arboran force. So if we look at the overall forces now, that small country has joined in. It's 800,000 infantry versus 426, 130,000 cavalry against 23,000, 242,000 artillery against 130. And yeah, now well over 7 million casualties, well on the way to 8 million. Battlefield casualties only, not including attrition. In fact, let's do a quick rundown of this one. 2.5 million casualties. And then in this one, actually lower than the others. 2.5, 2.6. So despite the fact that these guys have massive armies, they've not been as damaging. This has mostly been a war of morale, whereas this has been a war of manpower. Meanwhile, Kryenvar's armies stacking up over here, going after Adenica, taking some winter attrition. Helena's already finished the missions. She can attack anything she wants now, I believe. Oh, peace deal is being sent and denied. Meanwhile, we're into another fight here. Joining it during the shock phase, where 2,000 were dying. And then the fire phase. Oh, they're actually doing a massive amount of damage during the fire phase now. That's interesting. Shock has evened out. Fire was a bit more even that time around. Yeah, Krynvar just takes so many more casualties. Also, who was that purple nation that just joined? Newshire? I just saw a purple shield entering the battle. I don't know who that was. So during this fire phase, they did a bit better. The shock phase, not really taking a huge amount of damage. Then here we go, fire phase again. Marhold side taking a lot. So Krynvar must have invested more in their fire now. Although Krynvar is taking the -1 river crossing, they do have a fire general as well, which is pretty good for them. Seeing as most of the damage will be fire because archers. Krynvar still with a bunch of reinforcements they can bring in. There's someone... Oh, I think that was just a lag spike. What's Vikes doing? Vikes is soldiers out. That's why I came and looked over here. Someone said cringe Vikes, and I don't know why. Well, we're unpaused again, moving once more. That was another Marhold defeat. However, that 500,000 balance is still being maintained. Very curious about how they managed to get that advantage, because all the battles I've seen have been way closer than that 500,000 would show. Maybe it is when Anbennar decides to get involved. So a lot of the frontline fighting might be Marhold, because they have more mercenaries and maybe a better economy. And then the battles they really feel like they need to win is when Anbennar comes in. So Anbennar right now is taking more of a backseat because they need to replenish manpower, although then why are they fighting the rebels? That's a 200,000 stack army. What are you doing? Yep, taking maximum attrition wherever they go. Probably going after, yeah, the capital. So these guys need to be rallying some extra troops. We've got Anbennar with 50,000 defending. 70,000 coming in. Here we go. This is going to be a big fight. It is a flat province, so no defensive advantage. 2,500 casualties immediately being inflicted upon Anbennar, then immediately turning it around and inflicting 2,000 on Krynvar. See, this is what I mean. I don't understand how they've done 500,000 more damage to Krynvar when they take as much damage as they deal out. Like, I feel like I'm missing something here. Also, Anbennar's backline is terrible. Krynvar should win this, just because their backline is so much better. It looks like Marhold's artillery never arrived. In fact, they didn't. They're running around down here. Yep, that's their artillery line. Which can easily get caught out by, like, this army, and then they can just kill that. And they've got 5,000 men in the front line. 6,000. 28 in the back. Like, I don't know what they were doing there. But they finally joined the battle. But I have a feeling that's going to be just too little too late. Because the front line's already dead, and now the artillery's coming into the front line. And now they just lost all their artillery. That was really, really bad army management. Like, really bad. And the gap is still 500,000. How? I don't get it. Oh, Marhold unconditionaled. Was this against Marhold? It was. So Adenika's probably going to lose a couple of territories down there. Marhold will definitely lose their capital and maybe some of this. And then the Lorent-Arboran war will continue. So this is what, the third war in a row that Marhold has lost against Cryenvar. And as much as they try to move themselves further and further north, what Marhold kind of needs at this point is the Ram Dwarves to join in. Because the Ram Dwarves could open up another front in the tunnels against Cryenvar's minions. And also, they're the Cavalry Dwarves. They can go out and do Cavalry Dwarf stuff. Have they improved their cavalry ability? They have. It's now plus 45. So it's taking them a while to get going, as is true of basically any of the dwarves. But now that they are, their morale's quite low though. Is that because they've got low maintenance? No, they just have really bad morale. Huh. I'm guessing because of... Nope, they have high army tradition. And they have very good prestige. It's about as high as they're going to get it. Weird. Oh no, I guess they could get more from army tradition. They haven't been fighting quite as much as some of the others. And their army can now get to 78,000 with 122,000 maximum manpower. Red Centaur has lost sync. Whoa, what's happened here? Oh, that's religion map mode. Never mind. Maybe killed a few stacks? Yeah, they must have. And it does look like soldier sats arranging themselves for another assault. So Marholds have indeed lost their hold. And if Cryenvar gets that tunnel completed, then that's going to be another entrance into Ovdal Azdir. And I have a feeling that Tanya's neutrality here is going to backfire soon. Because she kind of needs to join either of these factions, otherwise either of those, well, especially the Wood Elves, just going to turn on her. Like Soldier Sat could, though probably has less reason to. Cryenvar's already been proving that she wants the tunnels. So I think that Oslam Azdir should have been allied with the Denica and Marhold in this fight. And helped hold the front line against the Wood Elves. Otherwise this Wood Elf incursion's just going to continue. Like, Helena's proven to be a very aggressive player. And just because you're neutral in this fight does not mean that you're not going to become a target in the future. Although Oslam Azdir is allied to Soldier Sat, aren't you? Yeah. So I guess if Cryenvar decided to go after Oslam Azdir, then they would have to contend with Soldier Sat. But if Soldier Sat's heavily weakened because of this war against the Phoenix Empire, and honestly the Wood Elves still have 600,000 manpower that they can bring in, they could do some serious damage. And Soldier Sat right now is pretty weak. Tanya was allied to Helena, then switched to Soldier Sat. Gotcha. So we've got a hot join coming in. I know that Vern was hot joining. That's Vern. And it said that Red Centaur was out of sync, but apparently Paul's the one hot joining. Okay. We still have another 40 minutes or so today. Oh, I don't know why I keep yawning today. I actually got a decent night's sleep. I just feel tired. Like, not tired, I'm just yawning a lot. And it's annoying me. I might go and open my window a bit. Back in a second. Alright, open the window a little. So, only two major wars left to go on. And that is, of course, the Boyako conquest of Adranslad. And... no! It's ended. Or at least Lorent's out. Yeah, the Arboran War's over too. Lorent won. Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So Lorent now has a massive colony. Well, that's very interesting. Okay, so now it is just Boyascavo against Vern and Lorent. And Vern and Lorent are probably not very happy with Boyascavo. Although, honestly, with Jordland on their side, with Jordland's massive navy, they could probably take New Lorent from Lorent and just never let them land. Like, they need to be watching this all like a hawk, but they could effectively deny the New World to the New World powers and pull an Elnar. The only way they'd get around it is if Ebethil joined. And then you'd have probably the most epic naval war. Haven't really had any naval conflict in this. It's kind of a bit of a shame. Like, just the way that this world is arranged, where you just have like one giant ocean and not a huge amount of others. There aren't that many naval battles. I don't really know why. Maybe less competition over the trade nodes? Like, there never seems to be a huge amount of conquest. Never seems to be a huge amount of competition over this. Like, the Mediterranean is failing to uphold its position as the Mediterranean. Possibly because there's no real reason for, like, Ebethil and Keterata to get involved. And then the northern powers don't really try to go south. Because there are so many wars around them anyway. I don't know. Maybe because they can just cross here, and this is not as big as the Mediterranean. I'm trying to think of all the reasons that there are these Mediterranean naval wars, like Genoa and Venice and people like that getting involved. Maybe it's just that there's a lack... Oh wait, does trade not flow this way? It must do. Maybe it's just the fact that Ebelthil is so powerful that there are no other major naval powers there that can actually compete with them. That's also possible. We'll need to take a look at the trade map mode. I have a feeling that trade wars are the main driver of naval wars. And if the trade nations don't feel like they can gain enough from those trade wars, then they won't do it. And also I will say it doesn't help that the major trade nations like Dame's Crown don't have a mission tree, so they don't get played. Neckcliff might have brought a bit more life to this. Vern and Lorent, not really naval powers. Small country, also not really a naval power. I think it's partly there's a massive rich east with lots of trade value in vanilla and there isn't so much here in Anbennar. Yeah, possibly. And also just doesn't have the ability to move it around fake Africa. Because there's just empty. So maybe when fake Africa gets filled in, there'll be more naval conflict. Although the naval distance of going all the way around there, might as well walk, it'll be quicker. There's no Suez situation. Yeah, I kind of feel like this just isn't deep enough. Like if it went further into here, then maybe there'd be more of a naval conflict. And then let's take a look at this. So we've got Burasan, we've got Ovdil Tunga. Admittedly, if Ovdil Tunga was a bit of a stronger player, then they probably would have more to say in the naval situation. I mean, trade can flow from up here around, then Ebethil is effectively Italy, and then it flows through Italy into the English Channel. Although this is more like Genoa, Venice. This would be around Greece. Or maybe the Ottomans. I think part of it is just that Ebethil's so strong. Like if Bucelar was a more reasonable threat to Ebethil, and if there was more of a conflict between those two, then maybe. But we didn't have a... Did we have a Bucelar player? I don't remember. And then also I don't think it helps that there is always, and I mean freaking always, just one completely hegemonic player that just dominates this. And if you have that, trade never gets through that. At all. Ever. I mean, maybe if it came around here. Maybe if it went all the way around the edge, but that just feels like too long a distance. That would be saying, like, I want to get trade from Indonesia to Britain without anything in between. I would like to see more conflict here. And also the fact that all of this is over land means he can't use light ships to intercept this trade. That's probably the problem. It's like, okay, here's your Silk Road with no alternate routes. Cool, so the Mongols take it all. Because yeah, out of here only 13 ducats is escaping. From like the entirety of the east. Trade from China and the spice trade flows up through the Mediterranean to Genoa and Venice. There's a lot of interest in Alexandria, Persia and Syria, which there just isn't the equivalent of in Anbennar, partly because there's no sea routes and partly because there's a massive empire and what's the equivalent of Persia. Yeah. I mean, if they had more threats from the south and possibly from the north, I think the problem really is you just get these completely massive hegemonic states and nothing can break their control and their dominance. I mean, we saw it during the previous multiplayer as well, where Jad just took over this whole region. It's boring. It's dull. Nothing happens there. And the other trade route is through the tunnels. Yeah, that's true. Which is, again, land-based. No naval situation. I wonder what the way around that would be. Maybe to make these rivers navigable. That could be interesting. Because these rivers look like they would be flipping important. Like this river, and this river in particular. Now look how far that thing goes, and look how big it is. And the fact that this basically cuts through this continent. And let's see, does it connect? You would probably see a huge trading city right about there, which would offer land caravans going across this. And then you would have ships connecting through all of the rivers going east to west. And I reckon that would actually probably be quicker than this land route to get to that river and then in. You get... In fact, does this river even connect to this? No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh wait, unless it's down here. Hang on. Ah, there it is. How does that work? No, it doesn't. These are weird rivers. I mean, this area is festooned with rivers, so you probably would get some overland trade just by the river trade. Up to... like... probably here. Yeah, because you would go... this river. To here maybe? Then possibly a canal through to the lake. Then across, then overland, then across. It would be like the Russia route. The Vikings carved out Kiev. Is this day 1 session? No. It's like day 6. Have to be more than one player in that area to make it more balanced, I think, so no one gets too powerful too quickly. Well, the problem that they had here was they're basically death wars. So whichever nation wins that first war, wins. There's no real balance of power situation going on. Where even if you take a hit in 1 or 2 wars, you can still come back and win. They're just too powerful. Like up here, you have so many different nations that there's more interesting... constant shifting of the geopolitics, whereas down here it's just like, it's the Mamluks or the Ottomans. Whoever wins that dominates the Middle East. And in this instance, the Phoenix Empire won, which is basically the Mamluks, whereas Jad would be like the Ottomans. Jad lost. You can feel the absence of player dominance when you do single player in that area as the Harpies. Yeah, but like we've had several player Harpies and they always get annihilated. Like in this one, I don't think we had a player Harpies, but they got annihilated by the elves.